Hey everybody, it's Christine Parma, and I am here today to talk to you about how to create your red hot client booking offer so that you can attract more clients, attract more of your ideal clients, and book them even if you're charging higher fees. So I know Shelly wants us to keep this to about 25 minutes, so I am going to really just dive right into the meat here. I am going to be sharing with you 3 big mistakes that I see entrepreneurs make with their offers that has them hearing crickets or really struggling to attract and book clients, and what you need to do to fix them, and then also the 7-step formula for creating your own red hot offer. And then I'm going to be sharing with you towards the end how you can take the next step, and a freebie that's available for you, and a very special aha moment that I had last night that I'm super excited to share. I'll also be sharing it on the What's Up Wednesday thread in this group, as well as on my page at Christine Parma Fan on Facebook, or of course you can find me at christineparma.com. So let's get into it. I know I had posted asking for your questions, and I got one from, I hope I'm saying it right, Radhika. So if you're here, Radhika, please give me a thumbs up or a like. And of course, if you have questions towards the end, I'll be taking the questions just so I can get through this training, because I have so much to share with you. So I want to start off with, why is it important that you get your offer right? And I guess I really need to even back up to, what is an offer? And what do I mean when I say an offer? An offer is how, not only what you are offering the world, your clients, in the form of, is it private coaching? Is it a widget? Is it healing sessions? But how you are communicating it, and how you are communicating the value of what you do. And all of that together becomes your offer. And it's probably very obvious why this is so important, because if you don't get your offer right, hi Kathleen, thanks so much for being here. If you don't get your offer right, then you're going to hear crickets. And how I see it, even worse than that, not only are you going to be missing out on getting clients and getting revenue, but you're not going to be connecting with the people that are yours to serve, who you can best help, and who really want and need what you have to offer, but they may not know it because of the way that you're putting your offer out in the world, or how you're communicating it. So everybody loses out in that situation. Your potential clients lose out, and you lose out. So it's so important, if you want to have a business that thrives, that you get this key piece right, your offer. And I want to start off with 3 big mistakes that I see people making with their offers. Number 1, and I'm going to be referring to my notes because I do have so much that I want to pack in here. Your offer consists of how many. How many sessions do they get with you? How long is each session? How many DVDs? How many audio recordings? How many widgets? Woohoo! Pile on the what, the how manys. That's a huge mistake, because that's really not what your clients care about. Thanks, Lizette. Hey, good to see you. Hi. So that's a huge mistake. How many modules are in your program? I mean, I'll just give a quick example. I was listening to Neil Patel, I think it was, who's a big online marketing guy, and his offer was good. I was really interested in what he was talking about until he said, and there are 49 modules in my program, and I went, wow, no, get. That was the end of it. The how many can really backfire, and it's also not what your clients care about. And I'm going to talk about what they do really care about, and what to put in your offer, so that you can have an awesome offer that connects with your ideal clients. Number 2, your offer doesn't focus on what matters most to them. What matters most to them, what's important to them, not what you know, or what you think is important to them, but what is actually important to them. And so it doesn't really talk to their or address their urgent problem and their desired results or dream solutions that they're looking for. That's a big mistake. I'm going to tell you how to correct that. Number 3, your offer doesn't use your ideal client's language. You're using your industry jargon instead, and probably you don't even know it. You don't even know that you're doing it. Because when you're this close to your offer, you can't see what the difference is. There's a huge difference. And if your clients are kind of like, what? I don't really get what you do, or maybe it's not for me, I'll think about it. It could be that there's nothing wrong with what you're offering, that they would love to have it. It's how you're talking about it, the language that you're using, and it's just not connecting with them. And that's the part that's out of alignment. So let's get into the 7-step formula for creating your own red hot client attracting and client booking offer. Number 1, you want to make sure your offer centers on solving real problems for people and giving your audience what they want. Now, this may seem like a point, but it's not, because people aren't doing it. People are, saying, hey, you sign up for my 12-session coaching package. Well, that doesn't really speak to my problem as your potential client. I'm like, what's a session? Why do I care about a session? I have a problem. I have a big problem, and I want that solved, and I want that fixed, and you're not talking to it with your offer. So, adios. See you later. I'm not interested. And that's really unfortunate. And this, of course, comes back to you knowing intimately who your ideal client is, who you're speaking to, what their urgent problems are, what their dream solutions are, and this is a later point here in the 7-step formula, but I'll give you a sneak peek, what words they're using, the language, the specific words that they're using to describe their problems, their dream solutions, and that's what your offer needs to be about. So solving real problems. And the urgent ones, the ones that are actually going to motivate them to act now and invest with you to get their problem solved. Because if the urgency isn't there, it's a real easy, well, maybe later for them. It's not a real big problem. So that's that's the first part of what your offer needs to cover. The problem, the urgent problem, and the solution they really, really, really want. They want, okay? Always your client, what your client wants, not what you know as the expert that they want, but what they want. Big difference, and it can be hard to see. So step 2 is you need to emphasize in your offer the gap. Now the gap is the difference. Hi, Cassie, thanks for joining. The difference between where they are right now, mired in their problem, in their urgent problem, in their pain, and where they want to be, la la la, it's rainbows and unicorns, it's their dream solution. It's in this gap between where they are and where they want to be that the tension is created. And they're like, oh, I'm here, and I really, really, really want to be there. And I thank you for hey, Tia. And that is when they feel the tension. Tension's not bad, but they feel this tension because it's a dissonance, right? It's this big gap, and when you position yourself as the bridge from where they are to where they want to be, that's when you become the natural, logical solution, and your client says yes, even at higher fees, because you are offering what they want, and you are the solution. Or your program is a solution. In this case, it may be. Number 3. And I'll give you a quick example. So much that I want to cover. So my client Jan, who I worked with, she's a leadership communication coach. So she works with executives. She hadn't really, despite being a communications coach, she hadn't really felt confident about being able to charge higher fees. And she really, really wanted to be able to, and it came down to not really having the right offer to make to her clients, and also a program. I helped her create her signature program, but a system for that would help, that she would use to help her clients, and that her clients felt safe in investing in at a higher level. So when she got her offer created, and she didn't even like go and create a course or a program and make all the recordings and the worksheets and none of that. She didn't have any of that. She had her offer. I said, okay, you're going to talk to this potential client, talk to him, let me know how it goes. And she's like, oh my God, you would not believe. He asked, how much do I charge? And she said, and I blurted out $2,500 a month. And he was quiet. And she's like, oh crap. And she's thinking, I asked for too much. I didn't do it right. I didn't position myself right. And he said, he goes, okay, that's good, because I thought you were going to say $5,000 a month. And then instantly she's like, damn, I should have said 5,000. But no, that was a little too far of a stretch for her, because I think the most she'd ever charged before that was $1,000, period, for the whole shebang. And she signed up a client at $2,500 a month. That's the power of getting your offer right and speaking to your ideal clients' urgent pain points and knowing them and being able to communicate it. So the step 3 is, and if you guys are finding this useful, please give me a thumbs up so I know that I'm giving you what you need. And if you have a question, if something's not clear, try and save it for the end, because I do want to answer your questions. I just want to get through all these 7 steps for people, especially also people are going to be watching the replay. Step 3 is the cost of not solving the problem. So imagine, take on the mantle of your ideal client, and you're having this terrible problem and you're in the pain, and you want to help paint that picture for your client, either in your copy on your website, in the messaging you're using in your offer, in the conversations that you're having with people, if you're speaking to people one-on-one. And you want to emphasize and illustrate for them and help them understand the true costs of what this problem is. Because when you look at a problem on a surface, like say you're a relationships coach, and a husband and wife, they're not getting along. Well, it doesn't seem like there's a monetary cost to it right away, or there's maybe not so much cost. But you've got to paint the picture of, well, gosh, if you're fighting, then your kids are seeing you fighting. If you're headed for divorce is $60,000 easy. Your kids are going to be shuttled back and forth between families. You may have to hire psychologists to help your kids deal with the split up of their parents. And you paint this picture, and so they really understand the full costs of what it's costing them, not only in what's obvious, but in terms of money now and down the road, lifetime accumulation, health, happiness, relationships. You have to really show them that there's a big cost for them not solving their problem and not solving it now. The longer they wait to solve this problem, the more, the harder it could be to solve, and also the more consequences they'll have to deal with and handle later on. So the 4th step is the cost of pursuing a solution that's not you. Okay? This I have to illustrate with kind of a throwback to when I was working with T. Harv Eker and running a bunch of his programs. And this has stuck with me for years, how he illustrated this. Because the truth is, there are other relationship coaches out there. There's other business coaches out there. There's other people teaching what I'm teaching what you're teaching, doing what you're doing. There's billions of people in the world. That's a fact, okay? You're not going to be without competition. However, nobody has your life experience, but you also want to help disqualify in your potential client's mind why these other possible solutions might not be right for them. And position yourself as the solution to their problem. And how Harv did this, he was on stage at one of his live events. And let's see, at the time he was, I think he was pitching, talking about his Guerrilla Business School. And he's talking about, all these speakers that are going to be sharing their expertise around business. And he comes to the point where he says, it's not like you can't learn this stuff someplace else. I mean, the internet has tons of free information. You could spend hours, months, years researching how to solve the problem yourself. But, if free information solved the problems, then why are people still overweight? Why are people still broke? Why are people, still struggling in their relationships? Free information doesn't solve problems. Actually, this is some of my stuff. I'll get to his part in just a second. Free information, it's the implementation of that information that trips people up. So then he goes to, you could go get an MBA at a university. And he gets on he always uses like one of those easels with the pads on it. And he's writing on it. And he's like, well, how much does an MBA cost? Somebody shout out a number. And people start shouting out numbers. Well, he starts adding up. And he's like, well, it takes you probably 2 or 3 years. And then, if you're doing it full time, you can't really be working, or you're probably not going to be working full time, or it's going to take you longer. So then, you have to take out student loans. And he adds up all of these costs. And he's like, so what would you rather do? Pay $250,000 and spend 4 years of your life to go get an MBA from some professor who stood in a classroom and never started a business himself? Or would you rather invest $2,000, come to my Guerrilla Business School and learn from the best experts who are in the trenches, building their businesses, doing it every day, and be massively successful so they can show you how to do that too? What do you think? What do you think happened? Now, Harv is a master. I will put it that way. I've learned a lot from him. But people started popping up out of their chairs. Harv routinely closed 70% of a room. 70% at his live events. And his live events were often 2,000-3,000 people. 5,000 people in Singapore is what I heard he was doing. So that's the power of an offer right there. That's the power of an offer, and knowing how to position yourself as you being the solution and disqualifying or making really unappealing, and by logically appealing to reasoning. I mean, gosh, people are like, yeah, it does take 2 or 3 years. Yeah, it does really cost a lot of money for an MBA. Yeah, that makes sense. So it wasn't like he was making stuff up. It made sense to people. And man, it closed people. And it was awesome that it did, because they got an amazing training. So step number 5 is to package your services, and I'm talking to service-based providers here. Package your services as a results-based program, or I call programs and courses, I lump them in under programs. Results-based program that's centered on delivering one core desired result. Because what your clients care most about is, what's in it for me? What are you going to do for me? What's the result I'm going to get? What's the solution? And longer doesn't mean better. Shorter, faster, skipping over the mistakes, saving time, saving money, showing me the right way to do it first. That's what matters to your clients most. So you got to get rid of, here's my 12-session coaching package. No. Stop doing that immediately. Stop. It's, here's my how to have a healthy and loving relationship and have better sex than you ever did at 50 relationships course, or at 50 than you did 20 relationships course, relationships program. I just made that up off the top of my head. But it's results based. You got to put in your offer what people want. Why do you think that I titled, my mini program, how to, in this title in this video, how to create your red hot client booking offer and attract and book more of your clients even at higher fees? That speaks, I hope, that it speaks to the result that you want. You want to attract more clients, you want to book more clients, and you want to be able to do it at higher fees. So very intentionally communicated there. And that's what you have to be doing with your offers too if you want to get your clients to say yes to you, especially at higher fees. Now, I know, Radhika, you had talked about, quick segue here, you had asked the question about pricing. I'm not going to get into pricing specifically. What I'm sharing here is it factors into the pricing, especially the pain points around your client, how you paint that picture of what it's costing them. Pricing is a whole training in and of itself. But when you are failing at being able to charge higher fees or get people to say yes to what you're offering, it's because one of these steps in creating your offer is out of alignment. You've got it, not as in 90% of the time. There's something that's really easy to fix, but it's just missing, and your clients feel it, and it's just not connecting in the way that you want it to connect. So when you have your offer really nailed, then your clients will say yes, and they'll say yes at much higher fees than you ever thought they would. Jan was like, there's no way I ever thought I could have charged $2,500 a month. And that client renewed with her at the end of the program. He thought he was getting a deal because of the way she positioned it and she communicated her offer. And he did get a deal because Jan's awesome. So results-based language, a results-centered program. And I'm a fan of programs because they have a specific beginning and starting point and a specific end and an outcome and a result that your client gets. And that's what they care about. Step number 6 is craft your offer using the language of your ideal clients, not your industry jargon. And this is so huge. I actually hired my own coach to help me with this, even though I teach this, because when you are looking at your own stuff, when you are teaching your own stuff over and over and it's coming from your brain, what's really obvious to you and the word, what you mean with the words that you use, and you think other people get it. And what's really obvious to you is not obvious or clear to other people. So if you're getting people say, I don't really get what you mean. What is it that you do? Can you tell me a little bit about it? A lot of people will just kind of go, and they're thinking, I don't understand what the heck she's talking about. And they just go, because they just want to be done, right? And leave. And you don't know why that's happening. You're like, why is nobody saying yes? I don't understand why I'm not connecting with people. It could be because you're using words like, I empower people to live in a more inspired life. All these words, especially that coaches, I'm one of them, coaches use because other coaches use them, and we talk to our clients that way, and that's not what your clients are thinking in their heads. So here's the big tip. When you are creating the language for your offer, you want to be as close to what your ideal clients are thinking in their head and saying to themselves before they ever meet you, before they've ever heard of you. And how are they talking about their problems? What are the words that they're using in their heads? They're not probably walking around going, gosh, I wish I just felt more empowered and I was more inspired. Then I'd be happy. No, they say, God, why am I so unhappy? To everybody else in the world, I have everything. I have a great job. I have a great husband. I have great kids. I'm just so damn unhappy. I don't understand. I'm so frustrated, I'm so frustrated that I can't seem to get clients. I don't know why. I actually used to say, I empower my clients to yada, yada, yada. I don't say that anymore. Yes, I feel like I empower people and I inspire people, but that's not the language that my ideal clients, thank you, are saying, so I don't use it. Because you have to appeal to people where they are and how they're thinking before they've met you. That's where you make the connection. So that's a huge piece I can't tell you how long and how many versions of my offers I have been through. It's a lot. It's a lot because I'm constantly refining it and getting it closer and closer and closer and more spot on to how my ideal clients think. And I got help doing that. So, and I'd be happy to help you do that. Number 7, the last step, is include incentives to make it easy for your clients to say yes to working with you right now. Now, I will just say this up front, I am not a big fan of discounting, of sales and discounting. I think of shoes or handbags when I think of sales. And the way I think about it is when you, as a coach or a healer or a speaker, a service provider, discount your services, even if it's for a short period of time, you are essentially conveying the message that you are not worth full value, that your services and what you do really wasn't worth $9.97 because now you're doing it for only $2.97. It gives that subtle message, even if it's unconscious, to your client, your potential clients, that you're not worth $9.97. And that's not what you want to do if you want to be able to make a fantastic living doing what you love and charge and get higher fees. The way that that I like to approach it is you provide incentives, you provide bonuses that are relevant, you come up with creative ways to make entice your client, use stick strategies. Stick strategies is kind of another topic. To get your client to say yes. But if you've done all of the steps before this, steps 1 through 6 in crafting your offer, and you're communicating it effectively when you speak with people or on your website and your copy, then this last part is just going to be that little push over the edge. And you see, the bigger names out there doing this all the time. Amy Porterfield, and I kind of feel like the bigger names are able to discount their services sometimes without cheapening their brand because they already have such high visibility and they have the brand and people know they're worth it. People are confident that they're worth it. But if you're kind of you and you're not a big name, you're me, and people don't really know you from Adam, discounting your services can really work against you. So, I give my clients all sorts of a list of ways of bonuses that they can include. And I'll share with you one very relevant one. I want to make sure I respect the rules that Shelly has put on these live streams and any promotions. So I'll just say you can find out more on the What's Up Wednesday post, and or on my webpage or my fan page, my Facebook page. But the incentives part, I kind of got a download, a divine download, really what I think it was, because I've been reading about how some people are, and a lot of people are so upset with what's going on in the world, and feel helpless and hopeless around it. And I'm like, God, what can I do as one person to serve, to shine my light brighter and serve in a bigger way and help more people and do more and really put my money where my values are. And my values have a lot to do with charitable giving. And so the incentive that I came up with, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this before, it's probably been done, but I think is really cool, is I decided that, with my Red Hot Client Booking Offers program, that I will be donating 100% of the sales proceeds of any sales made for that program during the month of February to the Fistula Foundation, which is an organization that does amazing work and is very near and dear to my heart. So in the context of creating incentive for your client and that bonuses and making it a win for your client, the way I look at it is I'm not devaluing myself by saying, super sale, get my services, work with me for $49. I'm worth full value. What I share is worth way more than what I'm charging. And I actually lowered the price to make it super affordable a while back. It was strategic. It's a different conversation, but it's strategic. And I wanted to be able to help more people. But donating 100% of the proceeds is so in alignment with my values, and it just excites me so much. And I feel like it's going to speak to the people, the kind of clients that I want to serve. So I'm providing service. I'm creating a win by donating to the Fistula Foundation. And I'm helping to push back this darkness that seems to be kind of making its way forward in the world in my own way. And I wrote a post on this. You can check my personal, my Facebook page or my timeline for the full post. But that's one way that I felt inspired. I had this aha moment last night to say, how can I get more people to say yes so that I can give more? So I can do what actually my end game is about. It's about giving more. And so that's one way I came up with it. And I would challenge you to get creative. How could you create a win-win in your offers for your clients? What would feel great for you to give or great for you to do, or great for you to offer? And what would your clients be like? Wow, that's just amazing. That's in alignment with my values, that really speaks to a need that I have, or it really helps me out. So I challenge you to kind of brainstorm, get creative, do something, dare to do something kind of crazy, and do something new, experiment. That's what I do. So those are the 7 steps. And gosh, I went a little over time. I was afraid I'd do that. I do want to, there's nobody right after me. So I looked at the schedule. If you have questions, please, I want to answer questions. Please post them in the comments. If you liked this training, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you liked it. Also, if you're catching this on the replay, if you want to post your questions under this video and tag me, I am happy to answer questions that way also. So thank you so much for the thumbs up. I hope, Radhika, I answered your question enough. And my intention, thank you, was to give you a bunch of value. Oh, so I want to tell you also, so what's the next step? First of all, the first step is to go back and look at your offers and look at your website copy and look at how you're communicating, positioning yourself and the value of what you do. And apply these 7 steps to your offers and really have a critical eye for are these elements in your offer? Are you following this structure? Or are you making some of the mistakes that I mentioned at the beginning? If you want extra help, I encourage you to get it. Whether I'm happy to answer questions, do whatever you want to. But get somebody else to look at your offer, even if it's a friend, who doesn't know anything about what you do. Because if somebody who doesn't know anything about what you do, or very little, who might fall into your ideal client profile, looks at your offer and goes, nah, it's not really enticing, or I don't really get it, that should be a clue that there's something off. After you've perfected your offer, however, what's the next step? Well, you need to market, right? You got to market yourself, market your effort. I've done some training on this. I'm going to be doing a bunch of live streaming trainings throughout this entire year. I'm focusing on marketing in this month and next month, and I've created a 6-figure business checklist that is literally a checklist of the actual big rock marketing and income generating activities that you need to be doing in your business, because too many people are out there with doing, they have amazing skills and expertise and heart, and they can really, really help people. And maybe their offer is pretty okay too, but they're filling up their day with doing all of these things that really aren't getting them in front of their ideal clients, and that's why they're frustrated that they're not really getting ahead in their business. So I've put together this checklist. You can find the checklist at christineparma.com/business-checklist. It's also on my homepage, so you can find it easily, but you can download that for free. I've also got some additional free resources on my website. And like I said, I'll be doing lots of free trainings and live streaming coming up. So I encourage you to like my Facebook page so you get notified of that. Join my mailing list so you get notified of that. Hi, Jen. Good to see you. We're just wrapping up. You got to watch the replay. Get the 7 steps. Don't do the 3 mistakes. But thanks for being here. So you can find me at christineparma.com, learn more about me and what makes me tick and how I help people make a bigger impact and a bigger income doing the work they love. So if nobody has questions right now, I will just end with saying thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been my honor to share some of what I know with you, and I wish you amazing success in your business and life, and shine your light brilliantly, more brilliantly than you ever did before. I think at this point, gosh, the world needs it so much, and I really, really want to see you be successful so that you can shine your light bigger, brighter, and reach more people. So till whenever I see you next, take care. Bye-bye.